Hi, guys. We have a guest speaker. The beautiful Dylan Mills is joining us tonight. She is a married mom of two, and she's been a coach for 3.5 years. She's a 2019 Premier Coach, a 2020 Elite Coach. She is a 5-star Diamond, and she is a 2-star in her second CBC, and she's a diamond in her third CBC. So Chick is a rock star, and she's going to talk to us tonight about building her business with two kids under two. They're Irish twins, right, Dylan?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
back to back. Okay, I will let you take it away, girlfriend.
All right. So, former teacher, I like having something in front of me. Also, my brain, like mom life, my brain goes all over the place. So I do have a little presentation. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. All right. So this is like one of my favorite things to talk about anyways, because I think if this is your limiting belief and this is the thing that's getting in the way at all, then it's the easiest possible thing to overcome. So I'm going to kind of show you guys how I have made it work and my best advice. So basically tonight I'm just going to talk to you guys about how to stay consistent, find your non-negotiables and accomplish your goals. And then at the bottom, of course, it says, even when life is crazy. I know right now we're in like the craziest season ever. So a little bit about my story. I am a mom of two, 3 years in the biz. I'm a former teacher. I was in the classroom for 6 years, and I actually just retired myself this past June. So it hasn't even been a whole year that I've been home doing this full time. I am married to a PE teacher, so we were teacher household. I am coaching full time now. These are all the things that she said before. We ended the last year number 86 in the network. We've got huge goals for this year. So now all that stuff is super fun to talk about. I love like all the accolades. I love all the positive things. And I know that's something for me, like anytime someone comes on a call, I always want to hear those things first, just so I can know like where they're coming from. But I want to also show you guys the flip side of this. So yes, those things are awesome. And I'm super proud of every single one of those things. But on the other side, when I started coaching, we were teaching full time. Me and my husband, I was teaching full time. We were trying to get pregnant. We were told that we had a less than 3% chance of ever having kids. So we were going through fertility treatments, which anybody that's gone through that, it costs so much money. We already didn't have any money. And I got pregnant in between rounds. We were about to start IVF, and I got pregnant in between rounds of treatments, which is like major miracle. And I got pregnant with my daughter. I had a high-risk pregnancy. I had a complete placenta previa and cord presentation. So I was put on a hospital bed rest for 21 days before I had her, and then she was in the NICU for 9 days after that. And then at 14 weeks postpartum, I found out that I was pregnant with my son, which was like total shock. Like girls on here, like I hadn't even had a period yet, like literally was not expecting it, like nothing. And just like God is good. But that was another high risk pregnancy. I went into preterm labor and was put on bed rest again. They wanted me to stay in the hospital, but I convinced my doctor to let me go home, and I just had to like promise and swear that I would not exercise anymore, that I like would barely walk or do anything, which was so hard having a little one at home with me. I also wasn't getting paid then for teaching because I was home. And if you're a teacher, you know your maternity leave, like for C-section, I would get 8 weeks, but I didn't get paid for those 8 weeks. It was like depending on the days that I had stored up. And so I used up all my leave when I was pregnant with my daughter, and had to go on bed rest then and all that. So I literally had no leave. I was like in the negatives. So I was not getting paid for that time I was home. And once I had my son, that was my second C-section in less than a year. But once I had him, I was like, something just clicked. And after I had my daughter, I remember thinking like, well, it was almost like I had a backup plan. I was like, I always have teaching. Like if I had a goal in this business and like I didn't hit it at that time, I'd be like, but maybe I'm just not meant to do this full time. Like maybe teaching is where I'm supposed to be. At least I have this steady income coming in. And I almost used it like a crutch. And I'm not saying everybody go quit your like 9-to-5 job. I'm just saying for me, I used it as a crutch. And it took me having my son and being home with them and like deciding, it just clicked one day. And I actually have a picture of me in his room, and I took a picture that day. I should share it on here, but I took a picture that day and I was like, this is it. I'm going to do this full time. I remember him just like swinging next to me. My daughter was napping, and I was like, I'm going to do this. Like, whatever it takes, I'm doing it full time. And I was already matching my teaching salary at that time. But for us to like be absolutely comfortable and like cover insurance and like just really have our bases covered, I knew I wanted to double that before I stayed home. So I like buckled down and obviously ended up doing it. But also during that time, we were tight on money. We were like drowning in credit card debt. We would literally get to the third week of the month, and our first 2 weeks was when like all our bills came out. And that third week of the month, we were like, we have no money. Like all of our, we got paid at like the last day of the month, and all our money was gone in the first 2 weeks. So we'd get to the third week, and I can just remember standing there at the cash register, like at the grocery store, like watching them scan things and being like, oh my gosh, just like cringing on the inside. So I was like, it's going on a credit card. Like even if it's like a penny over, I'm like, we don't have that money. We'll overdraft. It has to go on a credit card. So it was just the most stressful thing. Also during that time, the day before I found out I was pregnant with my son, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. So she went through chemo and radiation all during the time that I was pregnant, obviously this giant belly, all that time while I was pregnant with my son, and she is cancer-free now. But I say all of this because any of these things are reasons to like take a step back or re-navigate like what you want with this business. Or I mean, I hear girls all the time that things get hard or things get difficult or life gets crazy, and they're like, oh, this is just, it's too much happening right now, like I just can't really do this business right now. And I understand all of these. Like if any of my girls comes to me and says their mom's diagnosed with breast cancer, 100%, like there's a million legitimate reasons that I will never question or doubt or anything. But I also challenge you guys, like in those hard seasons, in those hard times, to let this be your controllable. And that's kind of something that has helped me through any hard season, any difficult time, any sleepless night. I mean, my kids are pretty good sleepers, so I have to like be careful with that, but like skipped naps or whatever. And just being tired, is that I knew that I had a vision for what I wanted with this. And I knew that this business is something that I had control of. So I can't control my mom's chemo and radiation. I couldn't control any diagnosis. I couldn't control, I mean, my pregnancies. I can't control my kids as much as I want to. But what I can control is how I show up and what I do. And so really leaning into this business, like I challenge you guys in those hard times, in those difficult times, to lean into this business even more, because this business should be something that adds to your life, not something that takes away from your life. So you need to have a vision for what you want. Like you need to know what you want from this and what this can provide for your family, for your future. And then decide that you're going to show up for that every single day and make it a non-negotiable. When I was wrapping up my last year teaching, I got up at like 3:30 or 4 every single morning, which, yeah, that was tough. And I had a 1-year-old and then like however many month old. And he still wasn't sleeping through the night at the time, but I still got up on those mornings, and I had my alarm label set, and it said, you will be staying home next year. You're doing this for your kids. Work now so you can be present later, like working for freedom. Like I had, and it's like the most annoying thing because I set alarms for like every 2 to 3 minutes, which my husband loves. But all those labels reminded me, like, this is why you're showing up. This is why you're getting up early. Because now, well, when we're not home, stuck at home, now, if I wanted to go on a play date, awesome. I could do it if I wanted to. If I wanted to go on vacation, cool. I could do that if I wanted to. Like, there's just so much freedom behind that, like to play outside, to do whatever I want with my schedule. And it just took me showing up in those early hours. And I still do that now, not 3:30 or 4, but I wake up at like 5 or 5:30 because I know what I'm working toward and I know what my vision is. So that's something that I want you guys to get really clear on. So in the chat, again, former teacher, I like participation points in the chat. And if somebody's watching the recording, just write it down on a piece of paper or on your phone or something. In the chat, I want you to tell me what your vision is. So what is your big driving force in this business? Like, what do you want to happen? Like paying off student loans, being able to go on vacation, staying home full time, paying off credit cards, like whatever that looks like for you, buying your forever home. So what is your big vision? And I'll tell you guys, buying our forever home is my next one, which we thought we would be in this like tiny little house forever. So retirement and new home, love it. Support my family and be debt free, yes. Keep them coming. Debt free, less side jobs for my hubby, more family time together, yes. And you guys, all of these are freedom, like every single one of these, and every single one of these is possible. Annual family vacations and dream home, all of the above, bringing my husband home, new home and school district we love, debt-free vacations. Yes, I love all of these. Now, a lot of times when I ask my girls what it's going to take for them to get there, they're like, well, I'd like to stay home full time. I want to. I'm going to try to hit diamond. I'm going to try to do such and such. And what I want you guys to do is when you say these things and when you write them down, and that's going to kind of be some homework for you guys, is I'd love for you guys to have these I am, I will statements somewhere in front of you where you work every day, or on even like making a Canva graphic or whatever it is on the background of your phone and saying these things, or having an image that makes you think of these and say that to yourself every single day. So not, well, I'm going to try to pay off debt. I'm going to try to do such and such. No, I will be debt free. I will be going on vacation with my family. I will be buying my forever home. I'm like all those things. I want you to change that statement to I will and I am. And I want you to show up every single day knowing that you will do those things and that you are working toward them. And then I want you guys to find your excuse story. So this is something that especially like as moms, as women, as workers, as whatever category, that we're very quick to do. So if I tell you right now, and I don't know where any of you guys are in your business, but if I were to tell you right now, you could be 5-star by Summit, or I say, you could be elite this year, or you could be superstar this year. What is the excuse or the limiting belief that pops up in your head of why that could not happen? And I want you to type it in the chat, which I know is a hard thing to do, but genuinely, like, think of those things that pop up, or even some that you hear from other people, like, oh, but I don't have enough followers on social media. Oh, I don't have enough working coaches. Oh, I don't have time to push for that. Oh, like whatever that excuse story is, whatever that limiting belief is, I want you guys to type it. I know everybody has one, so think about it. When I said these things, what's the first excuse or reason why it wouldn't happen? Too busy, college classes, social awkwardness, discomfort, lack of sleep, busy with kids at home, no time, no one wants to join me. You guys, and I hear these all the time. Like, these are so normal to hear. So now that you've identified what your excuse story is, that's where you can figure out how to fix it. That's the story that's going to hold you back. So that if this thing doesn't happen, you'd be like, well, yeah, that didn't happen. I was so busy homeschooling, or yeah, that didn't happen because no one wanted to join in with me. I wouldn't be a good leader. I wouldn't know what to do with my coaches. I was too tired. But what I want you to think too is those lives that you're impacting along the way, and mastering your story. So mastering your excuse story and figuring out 100% who you were, who you are now, and where you're going. So we talked about that vision piece, and we talked about those excuses. But really mastering that story and combating any of those excuses, combating those limiting beliefs, and then helping the other yous out there that are also struggling with those things. So if you say you're too busy and you don't have time, how is anybody else supposed to join you if they're super busy and they feel like they don't have time? So kind of showing up and helping those other people who are in that situation, showing up every day because you know that you're going to be retired and buying a new home, because you know that you're going to be debt free by 2021, because you know that you're going to be XYZ, whatever that looks like for you, and show up every day like that version of you. So figuring out now, what do you need to do daily to get there? what are you willing to give up? Now, I remember when I started coaching, I watched so many trainings and like was in all these push groups and whatever. And I would always hear coaches saying like, well, I hit top 10. I gave up TV for the whole year. Like I never watched TV, blah, blah, blah. I do not do that. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I love my Netflix time, but I also get all my crap done before I sit down, unplug, and binge watch Netflix. And I'm going to also recommend that you guys, I know we talk about scheduling and all our things, and we're going to do that, but also schedule your unplugged time, because you cannot burn the candle at both ends. Like you have to unplug and be present in other situations. But make sure that you're still doing all the things. So if watching TV with your husband at night, like that's my non-negotiable. Like when I'm playing with my kids, I'm fully present with them. I'm not answering messages. Like I'll maybe send a voice message here and there if they're like eating lunch and entertaining each other, but I'm never going to be like sitting there sending invites or not paying attention to them, because that's a non-negotiable. I'm going to be present with them. And I'm not willing to give up my Netflix time with my husband. Like getting on calls and stuff like this is one thing, but I'm not going to sit there and do my work while I'm watching TV with him, because I want to be fully present with him. But I am willing to give up a little bit of sleep in the morning so that I can get up earlier and get my stuff done. I am willing to give up maybe staying up a little bit later after he goes to bed so that I can get stuff done, or help my girls pushing for a goal or something like that. So find that give and take of what you are willing to give up and what you're not willing to give up, and create a schedule for yourself. I'm going to share something. Yeah, so I'm going to go into that. So getting intentional with your time. I'm going to share a little resource that I have that I send to all my girls that are new business builders, that helps them kind of plan out their morning. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you're not already getting up early, to get up early. And I know, again, there's going to be a million excuse stories where we're like, oh, but I can't get up early. I already get up at 5. Like I can't get up any earlier than that. Why can't you get up any earlier than that? I know having like a newborn, super hard, super, super hard. But I want you guys to think about what you're willing to give up to live that life of freedom, to live that vision that you just told me about. 1 year of losing an hour of sleep really isn't that hard. It really, really isn't. And guess what? Those mornings, like when I would tell myself this every single morning when I was wrapping up that school year, and like maybe Baker was up in the middle of the night or Raleigh was up in the middle of the night, maybe they both were up, like whatever, and my alarm went off, I'd be like, well, no, I'm way too tired. Like I'm just going to sleep in a little bit. But guess what? Me sleeping in a little bit was like sleeping in 1 more hour. And guess what? If I'm tired at 4 o'clock when my alarm goes off, odds are I'm still tired at 5 o'clock when my alarm goes off. Odds are I'm still tired at 6 o'clock when my alarm goes off. Like I'm still going to be tired. So am I going to be tired and feel so productive and like I got so much done and then I'm able to be present the rest of the day? Or am I going to wake up tired and always regretting like, oh crap, I should have just gotten up. I should have just done it. So really think about that and put that into perspective. Like those days where you don't want to, I don't know if you guys have read 5-second rule, but literally you just count down from 5, and I'm super competitive with myself. So like it takes discipline, but literally 5 seconds, if that alarm goes off and you're like, oh, I don't want to, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just stand up. That's the hardest part. Literally the hardest part is standing up and like walking to the bathroom to brush your teeth. That's the hardest part. After that, you're good. Drink some Energize, whatever. So a lot of times I have girls getting up earlier and they're like, okay, but I'm so tired. I'm just not very productive. Like I just spent an hour and I'm not even really sure what I got done. So I made this. It's like nothing fancy at all. But it's my daily 5 non-negotiable. So this is my morning routine. So what are my 5 things that are non-negotiable that I want to get done in the morning? And maybe there's some other things like that day that I'm like, okay, well, I also want to make sure I get this, this, and this done. But what are my 5 that every single morning, no matter what, I'm going to get done? So number 1, I always do my devotional and prayer journal first. That's first on my list. Number 2, I check in with my challengers. And then number 3, I invite. So I want you guys to put it in order, like the way that you would do it. And I can share this. I mean, you can write it on a piece of paper because again, this is like nothing fancy, but I literally have it printed and like up in my office, even though I have it memorized by now, but it still helps me to like stay on track. So these are my 5 things I'm going to be doing every morning. So like, what are those things that are going to move you forward and make you feel productive? Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have also read the book, Eat That Frog, but sometimes this list, that early morning list, needs to be the things that you're the most scared to do or that you're putting off. I've also had girls that are like, well, I didn't have time to send invites today because I woke up a little bit later, and on my daily 5, I knew I had to get my workout done. For me, workout's the bottom of my list, not because it's not important, but because I know I won't skip my workout. But I will maybe skip my invites if I like didn't have time, or like the nighttime rolls around, I'm like, oh, well, I just didn't do it today. I'll just do double tomorrow, like whatever. No, that's something that I know is going to move my business forward. And so that is like top of my list after checking in with all my girls. So I check in with my girls. I don't even answer my messages yet. I send my invites, and then next on my list is starting to clear my inbox. And then number 5 for me is working out. So that's what my list looks like. So you guys find what your daily 5 would be, but I highly recommend having that kind of checklist. And I know we have the business activity tracker too, but if you're doing early mornings or that's a struggle for you, maybe you're like, I'm already killing the mornings, like I don't need this. But if that is a struggle for you, I highly recommend just having that you can just like check off really quick, because that's something for me with 2 kids, very little, and just crazy during the day, that I feel so much better if I know I've gotten these done, because I can be present with them. And like nap time rolls around, if somebody skips a nap, but I know that I got these 3 things done, these bottom 2 I can do like while they're napping or while they're not napping. Like I can work out with them around. It's just not as productive maybe, but like sending my invites, I want to be totally present on. Does that help? Does that make sense? And then controlling the controllable, let it go of the rest. So I cannot control how many people say yes to joining me. I cannot control how many people like a picture. I can't control how many people vote on a poll, but I can control what I do. So I can control how many invites I send. I can control what parts of my workout I show. I can control the stories that I post. I can control my journey, what I'm putting into my body, getting my transformations. So find your controllables, and then the rest of it, just let go of. If you know that you're doing all the right things and you're making those moves forward, then that's what you can control. You can't control anybody else. And I think kind of letting go of that and it's like very freeing, knowing that, okay, I know that I put myself out there. I know that I invited my number that I wanted to invite for that day. I reached out to people. I shared on my stories, like all those things that you are in control of. I fueled my body. I got my workout done. And the rest of it will fall into place. You just have to feel confident in the things that you're doing. So if there's some of those where you're like, well, I just don't feel comfortable with how I'm doing this, or I just am not comfortable posting transformations, or I just don't know how to present the business opportunity or the challenge groups or whatever, then find how you can control those. Find how you can get more comfortable with those, because that's going to make you feel so much more confident, and it will help you control your business instead of your business controlling you. And then I also have my girls make a survival list. So like my daily 5, maybe my number of invites, like for me, I don't know if you guys have watched this training before on like the champions page or something, but that invite system. So this is what my invite page looks like. So my goal during the day is to fill up at least 1 column. So that's my goal in the morning. And so for me, that's 35. My old notebook was 30, but I just like OCD have to fill up the whole line. So it's 35 each. So in the mornings when I sit down to invite, and this does not have to be your number, I'm just telling you mine. Monday through Friday, I don't invite on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, I get up and I send out at least 35 invites. If I'm on a roll or I'm like in a major push season, then I'll take a little longer and fill up the second column. Or if during nap time I have some time, I'll fill up the second column. Like that's my like, yes, I did it list, is doing both columns, but my bare minimum is doing this one. But you guys have your own number in your mind, so you know what yours are. I will say, as unsexy as it sounds, this is a big numbers business. So you have to think too, the more people that I talk to, yes, that's the more ghosting that I'm going to get. Yes, that's the more no's that I'm going to get, but that's also the more yeses I'm going to get. Like that's the more seeds that I'm planting. So keep that in mind too. So you guys have your own number, like make that your daily 5. this is my number that I'm inviting every day. But I also want you guys to have a survival list. So on those days where, let's say your alarm didn't go off, maybe your kids are sick, maybe you really were up all night and you're like, I absolutely like self-care, cannot get up early this morning. Have a survival list. So when those things happen, are you still going to brush your teeth that day? Like your kids are sick, you're still going to brush your teeth. You wake up late, you're still going to brush your teeth. So parts of this business also need to be like brushing your teeth. So what is your survival list? So on those days, and this should not be an everyday thing, but on those hard days or those days that didn't go as planned, have a survival list ready to go. So maybe I post on my stories, I get my workout done, I send 5 invites, or I just like follow up with 5 people, whatever that looks like for you. And I check in with my challengers. Like maybe that's my survivalist day, or I listen to personal development. Hello. So maybe that's my survivalist day. So it's not as many as I would be doing, but I still did something. Maybe you don't even send invites that day. Maybe you're clearing your inbox that day. And an awesome thing is and I count follow-ups as invites as well, just to clear that up too. So if I'm following up with someone or I'm inviting them a second time or whatever, that still counts as my 35. But maybe on those days, like if I'm doing that 5 days a week and Wednesday I didn't get up that morning, then I kind of have some wiggle room. So then maybe Saturday or Sunday, I make it a non-negotiable and I make up for that day that I missed. Again, this is your business, so you guys decide how you want to run it and how you want to do it, but also have a survival list for yourself. So what am I going to still show up for? What am I still going to do on those hard days? And again, this is not an everyday list. If this becomes your everyday list, reassess what you're doing, but have that survival list. Okay, so last thing, I'm going to pull up the chat again. And if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer questions too. Okay, so here's my final questions. And be brutally honest, okay? Because that's how we move forward. So I ask my girls this like every single week. Would you pay yourself 6 figures for the work that you just did this past week? So from last Tuesday to today, would you pay yourself 6 figures for that work? And again, this is like a reflection that I had to do for myself, because when I wanted to stay home full time, again, I was using my teaching business kind of as a crutch. My teaching business, my job, whatever. I was using that kind of as a crutch. So I was like, well, I still at least have something coming in. I've always got this option. But genuinely, when I looked and I was like, well, crap, if I want this to be my full-time business, I have to actually treat it like it's my full-time business. So yeah, so would you guys pay yourself 6 figures for the work that you just did this past week? And assess that like personally for yourself, like, okay, so how would I change that? It doesn't mean that you work your butt off this week and you're going to make 6 figures next week, but it means that you're on the track. So yeah, ask yourself that question. Another one I like asking that kind of goes along with this is, if you were your own, like you are your own boss, but like if you stepped outside of where you are right now and you looked at the work that you did this past week, would you still have a job? Like, did you show up for this job? If you're not treating it like a business, or you're not treating it like a job, it's not going to be a business or a job. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to be a hobby and it'll pay you like a hobby. So, and again, I know that's like the least sexy, like fantastic thing to hear, but it's so true. And again, that should be freeing for you guys. Like if you show up for this and you know the activities to do, like you know exactly what to do. So if you show up for it, then it will be a business, then it will be a full-time thing, then it will thrive. You just have to keep watering those seeds. Okay, what if I told you that next week was your deadline for your goals? So you guys should all have a goal in mind that moves you towards your vision. Maybe it's hitting diamond, maybe it's hitting 2-star. So your goal is different than your vision. Your vision you typed at the beginning, and that's like that big thing, like that's that what you want for your life. But your goal is something that gets you closer to that. So what is your goal right now? Like, what is your next goal that you have coming up? I want you guys to type that in the chat. So what's your next goal? Diamond, 1-star, 2-star, opening a second business center, opening a third business center, 5-star. Like, what is that next goal for you? Diamond, emerald. Yes. Girl, you can hit emerald. Wake up emerald Thursday morning. Absolutely. Gave my 10-star back. Yes. 1-star, emerald. Awesome. Now, what if I told you, like, how hard would you work if I was like, you know what, this week is it. If you don't hit it, you don't hit it. Everything's done. How hard would you work? Like, would you be getting up super early? Would you be staying up late? Is there times during the day where you're like, well, I could actually, I guess, be working during that time? Yeah. I would be up. I would be working my butt off. Okay. What if I told you that you could make $1 million if you hit that goal by next week? How hard would you work? Again, teacher life. I'm trying to speak to all different learners here. How hard would you work? Okay, last one. And you can insert your own celebrity crush here, but mine would be Chris Hemsworth. So what if I told you that you could have lunch with Chris Hemsworth, or insert your own celebrity, if you hit your goal by next week? How hard would you work? So here's the question. Why aren't you working that hard right now? What's the difference? You could hit your goal by next week. You decide when that finish line is for you, but think about how you can show up even more, how you can make this even more of a business and treat it that way, and just get super, super intentional. That was my word of the year last year, was intentional. And I almost wanted to use it again, but I knew I had to think of a different word. But it's like one of my favorite words in this business. Like, it's one of those you'll hear all the time. Consistency, be intentional. Consistency, be intentional. But it's because it's so true. Show up every single day and be intentional with your time. Don't just sit there and and I would catch myself doing it too, like watching The Office and ho-hum, like kind of sending invites on the side, but not paying attention all the time. And then I finally stopped myself. I'm like, if you got up earlier and were super intentional sending your invites, then when you get done, then you can sit down, put your phone away, and watch The Office. Like, get intentional with your work time and kind of separate that. Yeah, see, The Office, always. All right, so that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Hopefully that's helpful. I don't know if you guys have questions, but I'm happy to answer any questions or anything you guys need.
I feel like we were meant to be friends. Hey, I just want to add, this was so, so good. I'm really, really excited about it. So one of the things that I love to talk about is controlling the controllable. So Kim Carver and I have talked a lot, and he helped me just figure out okay, Deidre, if you want to reach your goals, what are I would go through what's going on in my life. And he's like, okay, Deidre, what can you control and what can you not control? So what I did, I have this messy place above my desk, and I'm going to show you guys what it says. So every day when I'm working, I can see I am in control. This side is what I cannot control. But guys, look at what I can control. And I want you guys to take some time, if you can, just to think about that. Write it down yourself when you're working your business. What can you not control? We can't control other people on our team that work their business. We can't make anyone work their business. We can't make people get on our team calls and do our trainings. We can't control our coach's consistency, but here's what you can control: your own business, quitting and giving up, hitting Success Club, inviting, doing personal development daily, follow-ups, making a schedule, staying consistent, your own fitness journey, communicating with my team, using another social media platform to expand my market. Those are just what I have on mine. And I feel like that really helps me to keep my head in the game. And I just loved the other part with the survival list is like brushing your teeth. Guys, we are not letting our teeth rot over here, okay? So there are just some things that if we don't feel good today or we have something going on, so many coaches say, well, I didn't do anything because I have this. Okay, but you're laying down sick. Do a freaking post. Still check in your challenge groups. Still show you're present. There are just certain things. I love that. The whole survival list and brushing your teeth. There are just things that we need to do anyways, even when we don't want to, because it is our business and it is our job. And if we keep doing it, it will pay like a job, not like a hobby. I loved it. I loved it so much. This was great.
Yay. I will share too. I have this. I don't know if you guys have listened to it or read it. The book Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein. Love her. I was actually listening to The Universe Has Your Back when I I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. Like I would walk every morning with my dog, and I found out I was pregnant like while I was listening to that book. So she has like a very special place in my heart. But in Super Attractor, that's kind of the idea of it, is like focusing on those positive controllables and like showing up every day. So it's really good. I've sent it to too many people, or else I would like volunteer to send you guys a free copy. But I have the background on my computer right now is like a mantra affirmation that she shares in there. She's like, you can pick your own, but here's the one that I have. And literally every single morning I write it down on the top of I write my affirmations too, but I write it down on the top of my page every day. So like I write down my affirmations like, I'm a present, playful mom. I'm a present, loving wife. I'm an empowering leader. Like I'm attracting people who want to do this with me, like all those things. But I also write down everything is happening all around me and I'm truly taken care of. And that's the one that she shares in the book. And I also have it on a sticky note right here too, but I wanted to share that too, because I think it's kind of that idea too, like you're controlling the things you know to control, you're doing all the things you know to do. And even, I mean, I know for some people it takes a little bit longer, or you have to do things a little bit differently, but if you're doing all the right things and you're controlling those controllables, there's absolutely no reason that your goals and your vision for your life won't happen. Any excuses, like any of that, like any excuse story you're telling yourself, get rid of it and focus on how you can control those things. I would do Super Attractor. I really like The Universe Has Your Back, but I think a Super Attractor is fresh on my mind. I just had a lot of my girls reading it too, and they are all like obsessed with it. So I would do Super Attractor just because that's like a newer one. And she mentioned some of the stuff from The Universe Has Your Back too.
I just wanted to like retouch on a few things that you said. I like take notes the whole time. I am like, I am a collector. Like I'm going to watch like all the calls and join all the groups and do all the things. Like I am all in. And I just want to remind those of you or tell you who don't know, like how I started. I drug my feet for so long and I treated it like a hobby. I went into it with I don't really have what it takes, but this girl's pushing me to do it. So I guess until I switched my own mind, I was approaching a year and I was like, okay, nothing's working. So put your blinders up, focus, treat it like a business, do the things that people are saying, set the business hours, you know, all that stuff. And then it worked. Then I rank advanced like 3 times in 6 months. So if you really try and put the effort in, like it's foolproof. You have to show up, you have to post, you have to invite, fill out the business activity tracker. Like it literally tells you what to do every day. And then the business hours messages thing, like don't feel like you have to be glued to your phone. Even when I was talking to Dylan about this call, like there would be times where she would answer me and like long gaps, and like I think it was like 6 o'clock in the evening she'd message me and I'm like, oh, that must be like business time. Like that's what you have to do. You don't have to be glued to your phone. Set those business hours to be fair to your business and to be fair to yourself and to your family. So you don't have to be glued to your phone. I literally have someone waiting for a coach sign up share cart right now. Like of course I want to get to that ASAP, but you have to wait till it's work time, you know? And the non-negotiables, I freaking loved that. I think that's perfect because if you get like 10 minutes of time, like you know exactly what you're doing. I always have a to-do list handy. So like if I get just a minute, I'm not wasting any time. And the getting up early part, I see you up early all the time. And I think that is perfect because if I don't get up early, I immediately regret it. Like literally within 5 minutes of being up, like I'm beating myself up for not getting up earlier. And that's the only way to get more time out of your day is, I mean, that's something I'm willing to give up is sleep. So, and then the vision thing, like I think that's important to have to print a picture, write it down, put it in your bathroom mirror. Like it has to be something strong enough to get you up out of bed, to keep you up late at night when you're tired, to push those invites out, to make the post and not care what people think about it. And I also wanted to ask you, Dylan has a jewelry line about to launch. When is that? I'm like, I keep watching your stories.
I know May 12th is when we're launching it, so I'm super excited. I also have a book.
Yes, that was number 2 on my list. I just bought her book.
Yes, I also have a book. It's on Amazon. It's a book and a tool book that I came out with last year. So that was another thing. That was a bestseller last year, which was really cool. But yeah, the jewelry is Raleigh Rising. I can share it right here. Or if you guys go to my Instagram, I talk about it. But that's all this stuff too. And then the book is called Inspired, and I can link it if anybody wants it, but it's just on Amazon. And it's a book, and then it has like a tool book where you can take notes like while you're going through the book, and has like reflection questions because again, like all the participation. And then it has like 4 weeks at the end where you implement everything you just read about. So that's something out there too. But yeah. Well, I'm
Awesome.
glad this
Thank
was
you so much for sharing with us. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
good. So all of you guys, as soon as you hit your goal, message me and let me know that you hit it because it should be happening. You just have to decide.
Hey guys, one quick thing before we go. If this is just something I'm doing, and I'm going to challenge you guys to do it too. So there are moments where I have slacked in my business. And one thing that I started to do to make it fun for my kids since they're home with me, like this is not my business, this is our family's business. So I made a deal with my kids last week. And I'm like, okay, guys, this is our business. So I need your help. And I need you guys to be really good while I have my business hours so mommy can focus and help people. So I made a deal with them that if I signed up 5 people from this past Thursday to this Thursday, they each get a toy for $25 and we get to go shopping on Amazon. They are on me like you would not believe every single hour. Mommy, did you sign up a coach? Mommy, did you sign up a coach? Because guys, guess what? If you sign up 5 coaches, you get a $100 bonus in 5 weeks. So I'm like, I'm signing up 5 people in 1 week. Sharing a goal with your kids like that, guys, have a goal of going Emerald and signing up 2 coaches and tell your kids, let that be your accountability. And they're going to be on you, but that is going to motivate you because you're doing it for your family, you know? So if you guys have kids and you're like struggling to reach your goal, let them be your why and let that push you. That's just what I'm doing. I don't know. You guys can do it or not do it, but it's pushing me. And I'm like, I can't let my kids down. I gotta go sign up these people. So
I love that. I tell my kids that too. Like I want them to understand, like when they see me on my phone or my computer, I don't want them to think I'm just ignoring them on Facebook. I'm like, mommy is working and look, I'll show you. And I mean, they're always on like recordings or calls and stuff. And when I ask my oldest, he's 7, I'm like, what's mommy's job? What does mommy do? And he's like, mommy helps other mommies get healthy. And I think that's awesome. I love that he knows what I do. So
I love
include your family, include your spouse, tell them your goals, show them what you're doing, keep them in the loop, keep the communication line open, because just over the last 3 years, I've noticed that helps a lot.
I just saw another question. I didn't mean to ignore. Do you plan your content or posting ideas? Not as well as I should, I'll be honest. Um, but one thing I will say, like if I've taken time to go back, like transformation pictures, for example. I've gone back to older ones, and I don't know if you guys use the app Planoly. I don't have it to where it posts on my page just because I know Instagram's weird with like outside apps being connected. But I do use Planoly to like save posts. So I use the place savers that they have. Place savers, is that what it's called? But it's just like where you just have a little picture and I just put a label on it. So it'll say like transformation. And I take an old caption that I already used and I save it there. So like if you guys were really to like go back and like really look through my page, you'll be like, wait a second, that wording sounds so familiar because I probably used it like a month or 2 ago. Only because the same people are not going to see your stuff. I mean, some of them, a handful will see your stuff repeatedly, but for the most part, like if you really liked the wording on a post that you did, save it, and you don't have to retype something every single day. So no, I mean, I know like Tuesday is Transformation Tuesday. So like some of those more predictable ones, but also don't feel like you have to share a post every single day. Like that's one thing that kind of like takes some pressure off. Definitely share on your stories every day because that's a lot of where people like see what you're doing. But even on those hard days, like we talked about, you guys, like show up on your story still and explain. You don't have to go into detail, like share as much as you want, but even just telling people like, I'm not feeling it today. Today is hard. Like my mindset's not in the right place, but here's what I'm going to do to help myself. So if anybody else is struggling, like, let's do this together. I'm going to sweat it out. I'm going to listen to personal development. Like sharing those little things that you're going to do to move forward not only helps you like get out of that stuck place, but also helps other people to be like, oh my gosh, I saw Melissa share about this and I was struggling so hard this morning, but like that just motivated me. Even if they're not working with you, maybe it motivated them to go for a quick run or something like that. So I recommend that too, but roundabout, no, I don't really plan them. Again, like I just saved some like captions that I really liked, and like one may say kids, one may say mom life, mompreneur, like little labels, so that if I'm posting something and I'm really stuck and like can't think, then I can go back on Planoly and just like find one of those captions and like tweak it a little bit. But it's all ones that I've used before. So that's an idea too. Like if you guys ever get stuck and you're like, I don't know what to write about, then that's good too. If that answers that, hopefully.
What's that called? Planoly.
Planoly. I'll type it in the chat too. Plan and then OLY. And again, I don't have mine directly connected, so like it doesn't schedule out the posts or anything for Instagram, but I have them saved so I can at least like paste it. And that's a way, like I know people ask sometimes, it can help you get like spaces between your paragraphs or whatever, because I know people ask about that too. But yeah, that's a helpful one if that's something you're struggling with. But again, like don't feel like you always have to recreate a caption, because odds are people probably didn't see it. So hopefully that helps.
Does anybody have any more questions for her? I don't want to keep you hanging too long.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dylan. That was awesome.
Oh, no problem.
I love the reality check. I think a lot of us, like I'm going to go ahead and include myself in that. Needed to hear that.
Good. I'm glad it was helpful. And then, yeah, I also, I can share with you too. I even have, I'll find it, a form that I was sending to girls like in my last like diamond push that was like those type of questions, but it was just like they would send it only personally to me, not to the rest of the group, where I mean it is nice questions to ask yourself at the end of each week. So like every Thursday asking yourself like, okay, did I treat this like a business? Would I still have a job? Did I acknowledge my business hours? Like those type of questions too. There's a fly in here and it's about to drive me crazy. But yeah, I can share that too if anybody wants it, but happy to share whatever. All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys, thanks for hopping on. All right, bye, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.